Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another Capes and Lunatics book club. That's right, we didn't forget. Uh, as always, I am Phil, and the other reader of our podcast.
Hey y'all, it's Lil Hellfire.
And nice, refreshing change of pace. We're gonna review a classic, and it's not written by any of my relatives, so
that you know of.
not. I wish. I would be like hitting up. I'd be like, Aunt, can you come talk to us? Because what are we discussing tonight? That's right, we're getting it at night because The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, Book 2 of the Vampire Chronicles. Alright, so let's get into it and kiss its butt all over the place. Alright.
I know, I don't honestly think I could say a bad word about this book at all.
So, when did you first
I don't know, I'd have to say like 96? I've always been into vampires, so it's just kind of a matter of time.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was about the same because I might have discovered it a year or two before that, but yeah, I was in high school and the interview of the vampire was out or it was coming out, and I saw the book, so I bought the book, I read that, and then I decided, there's a second one, I'll pick it up. I read this, I was like, yes, my new favorite character. Lestat.
Yeah, it's definitely a big change of pace from interview. I mean, it's whiny Louis' perspective, like
Exactly.
I saw the movie before I ever read any of the books, so that kind of like tainted me the first time around between these two books. But like once you get to Queen of the Damned, and then you start rereading it after you read.
I mean, yeah, the minute I this book, I fell in love with the character. I went out. I was like, I think I Queen of the Damned and Tale of the Body Thief at the same time. I'm like, I'm tearing through this, like tearing through them.
And thank God she's not like George R. Martin, where she gets stalled on one book. I mean, this is a great body of work, and she was also putting out the lustier stuff at the same time. She was a busy lady.
Mm-hmm. That's why I want to. That's why I want to meet her. I'm like the mind that can create a Lestat. I'm like,
yeah, he's like he's a bratty prince, but you really end up rooting for him after you kind of like you're like, Louis just a whiner. I don't know what he's whining about. It's a gift.
That's what I said. I discovered this in high school, and I don't know, like me and a few other people had like I don't know, like an unofficial like fan club for this, and everyone's like, oh, Louis and Claudia. I was like, no, Lestat.
Oh, that reminds me. While Star Trek might have been the grandfather of slash fic with Kirk and Spock. Wait for me. Anne Rice's she really did make a very huge indent in the fanfic writing circles. So much so that I don't know if you've ever read any fanfic, but if you have, it's those disclaimers actually come from when people used to write Anne Rice fanfic because her lawyers would actually go after fanfic writers. So those disclaimers, these characters are not mine, no copyright intent, comes from her lawyers suing people all over the place back in the day.
I never read any of the fanfic. Is it like your fanfic, or is it?
Oh, you have to go Google some Vampire Chronicles fanfic. It is right up there with the X-Files stuff. Like, it's good and in character, but like after about two to three chapters, it gets pretty steamy. Stuff we could only read on After Dark on our Patreon whenever we get it up. So yeah, she's had a big impact on like a lot more than just these books. So I always find that funny.
But I mean, I think I've read most if not every book in the Vampire Chronicles, and like if Lestat's not in it, I lose interest.
I think up until like what what's the book after Memnoch the Devil? I don't think he's in that one. But right up until the Memnoch is where I like tapped out for a while. I was just like, it was kind of like sprawling and boring, and I'm just like,
Isn't there like a Vampire Armand one? And...
Yep.
Isn't there?
I got through all of those.
Isn't there like a newer guy? Yeah, but isn't there a couple? There's a couple where like Lestat's just like after he's just like a raving lunatic for a while.
Exactly, but no, like he's such a good character, and she just seems so fascinated and enthralled with him, and it kind of reminds me of Constantine a little bit, where the character. I don't know if you've ever seen like these weird, like every now and then, if you're like we're in like a goth kid or a vampire kid, there's like. I think you can even search it from like 95, 96. There's like this guy who pretended to be Lestat. He really thought he was Lestat and he would do interviews kind of thing.
An interview with a vampire?
Exactly. I think that was the joke, but I don't know. There's some people that are a little.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, yeah, and then they did the movies, Interview with the Vampire, and then they did the Queen of the Damned, which kind of
It's like you can't shortchange Lestat the book. Like, no, don't do that.
And didn't they make like Marius his creator and stuff? And
exactly, they really changed a lot. It was so annoying.
Although I did like Stuart Townsend as Lestat better than Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah. I bought it more, yeah. Maybe just because I was, maybe I wasn't as familiar with him, but Tom Cruise, I just say Tom Cruise, I'm just like...
It took you right out of the...
Yeah, it took you right out of it, yeah.
See, Stuart Townsend at the time was a really big deal. He was dating Charlize Theron, so probably how you felt about Tom Cruise is probably how I felt about Stuart Townsend playing this character.
I think at least look-wise, he pulled it off a lot better than Tom Cruise.
Oh, absolutely. He does have a very Victorian, Georgian features, but he's British, so of course he does. So you remember that shameless plugs and self-promotion, your geek blind spot? And I said I never read Twilight. Well, I started reading Twilight, and it's really funny. Like, people give her crap about her glittery vampires, but if you read the description for Anne Rice when she's describing it, needs to be powdered down, fingernails of glass. I was like, and the lady that wrote, she totally ripped so much stuff off from this one. Like, she tries to pretend like she never knew anything about vampires. I'm just like, wait a minute.
I know, because I saw the movies because Danielle had her face. She read those Twilight books because that's like, I was reading this. I'm like, you have to read this. I'm like, if you read Twilight, you have to read this.
Sophisticated suspense.
That's right. I mean, look at this. You can tell I've had this since high school. Look, it's just all beat up.
I've had like so many copies, but right now they're all on my Kindle. Yeah, all of the books.
There's so many books. Like I'll read them once, maybe twice. But this, like I said, I got it. I think 94, 95. I've at least once every 5 to 10 years I read this.
That's it.
At least, if not more. Yeah.
Yeah, like this book is so long and it has so many chapters, and I love that about Anne Rice. Like, she really gets into it, and I think my favorite part is Ancient Mysteries, Secrets and Spells, or whatever it is. It's like the 4th part of the book where they really get into it. Like, she breaks it down, okay? There's an epilogue, there's a prologue, there's something after the epilogue.
Well, I mean, we were always discussing flashback, like with Arrow and everything. I mean, this was like the original flashbacks, it's like Interview with the Vampire, you had it, but then this flashes back before that, the Lestat, and then
at least they're interesting.
It flashes back to Armand, and then it even flashes back to Marius.
It was a lot of world building. I think she knew people would be really curious, and she's like, all right, I'm going to give you an overdose, and it really actually wasn't enough. Queen of the Damned really gets into it, though, like the whole origin of it.
But she paints such, great pictures with the words. It's like there were so many scenes in this book. It's just like, I'm like, oh, we're leaving that already.
Yeah, she is a very descriptive writer. I think that's why a lot of people are very they'll defend Anne Rice to the death. They're like, fight me, nerds.
Because I could see a book like this where I'd be like, I'd be like impatient, like, all right, come on, get to the part where he's a vampire already. But even like Lestat's mortal life, like, I was cool reading.
Well, he was, this deteriorating like aristocrat. He was the youngest son. He was so full of passion. Exactly. So, he was an interesting mortal that was doomed to be some twisted twit in the end. So,
young and dumb and 21.
Oh, I like that version better. That's the clean version.
Yeah. Family-friendly podcast.
No, this podcast is rated teen. Take a shot.
But so, like, I mean, so many people love this book. I mean, you, me. I mean, you saw when we mentioned the Charlie we were gonna review. This is like, oh, I love that book.
I've honestly never met a person who liked Louis. Honestly,
I don't know. There was.
I think it's like an age gap thing.
I think, maybe.
Because it's just like the kids who started getting into Buffy now, they're all about Angel and not Angel, Buffy and Spike. If you were an OG and you watched it when it aired, you're all about it's Angel and Buffy till the end. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things, I think. So did you have a favorite chapter or part of the book?
My favorite part is probably like after Magnus changes him and just like him in Paris.
I like when his mom comes along.
Yeah, that part is good.
That's my favorite.
It kind of makes me sad when, like, you know, all the old vampires show up. I'm like, I wanted to see him and his mom tearing through Paris for a while.
I can't stand Nicholas. I can't stand him.
Well, I mean, he was kind of like,
he's Louis. He was Louis before Louis was Louis.
He was even darker. I mean, he was like almost suicide. You know, he's like, I wanted us to die and fail.
You know what those scenes remind me of? You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but the Vampire Diaries. He was very much the Damon, couldn't stand being a vampire, hated the person who turned him for it kind of thing. And I'm just like, you're no fun. You're a stick in the mud. Get out of here.
I never watched Vampire Diaries. But yeah, I mean, I know it's like, you always get at least one of those types where it's like, oh, I hate being a vampire. Yeah.
Why?
I know. It's like, okay, you can't go out in sunlight, but it's like,
who needs that? Moonlight is infinitely greater.
You're super strong. You got some kind of powers. I'm like, and you're living forever unless somebody's like chopping your head off or something.
Exactly. And the older you get, the tougher you are to kill. I love that part too. I love her whole mythology for vampires. Like, she really like studied and took her time, and she took some of the like the more obscure kind of things about vampires and vampire lore, and she just made it her own.
And I mean, if someone else did this before, I don't know their work, but I mean, she gives us an origin of where vampires come from.
I don't know that I was so crazy about that one, the particular origin. It was well thought out, and I saw where she was going, but I was just like, I don't know if I buy that one. But it's at least it was different.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know.
Like and it makes sense in the universe, kind of. But don't try to watch Queen of the Damn movie and think it's gonna make any sense for you. I'm still so mad about it. Like, Aaliyah as Akasha was my jam, and I was just like, this should have been 2 movies, not 1.
Did you cosplay that?
No.
Okay.
Never would have the guts to cosplay Akasha as done by Aaliyah. Nope.
I was gonna say, if we ever get our Southgate Media Group convention going, man, I'll get a wig. I'll do Lestat. Come as the queen.
We'll get Charlie to do Akasha. He'd do it. I
was gonna say, you and your boyfriend be the king.
I'm still trying to get him to do Spider-Man. So baby steps.
So what was your favorite part of the book?
I definitely like where he's like, he awakens and he's into it's the 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
Rock and
roll in the 80s. Like he gave me a very Billy Idol kind of vibe.
Oh, that's another thing that like maybe younger people might have confused them. Back in the 80s, MTV played music videos.
It's true.
None of this Teen Mom.
OG Teen Mom now. Oh. Shudder to think. Anyway, yeah, it was. I love that description. Like, when you ever talk to somebody who's like an adult in the 80s, especially like if they're in like the punk scene or something like that. Yeah, great description.
And then like even like the end of the book, like kind of like, you know,
in San Francisco.
Well, yeah, what even ropes an interview with the vampire, because you get spoilers, you get Louis back, and well, yeah.
But no, it rolls perfectly into the next book. It's a really great cliffhanger. Like, I don't even know how I don't know how people waited for books. Like, when you read older books, especially that's like a complete series, like it just such satisfaction. Like, how did people even do this when you were waiting like years?
Well, that's what I liked about discovering it in the 90s, because you had Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned, Tale of the Body Thief, and Memnoch the Devil. I think was new or newer then. So you had like I had like 5 books. I was like, all right.
I do like the what is it, the Blackwood Farm Witches, though. I did like that spinoff because some of these characters come back in it.
I never read any of the witches stuff. Is it
the first 2 are really good, and then it kind of gets into anything post Memnoch craziness.
But I know in this book David mentioned like Ramses the Damned. Is that like?
I don't think it ever tied back in. No.
Okay.
Like, authors are allowed to drop a plot thread. They are allowed.
So I think there was a book, because there's the order form in my old book here, but yes, I didn't know if it ever tied in or not.
So I always had a misconception for some reason about Anne Rice. I thought that she was Mormon and left the Mormon church, but it turns out it was Catholicism that she left. And then she went back and then she left again. Like, you can see her love-hate for religion throughout this whole series.
The Catholicism would make sense just from this book alone.
Well, Mormonism actually takes quite a lot and tries to pretend like they don't from Catholicism, but...
Mm-hmm. I mean, just Lestat, you know, talking to Armand. And
well, of course, he's from the 17th century, so it was all either you're a Catholic or you're a dead Protestant. Yeah. Especially in France, just saying.
There is no, there is like no evil or no meaning to it all.
Yeah, I think that if you read this book right now for the first time, you can find it'll resonate really hard with you, especially like Lestat's plot about being a younger child and all the wealth being used up. Mm-hmm. I think that theme is something that a lot of people can relate to right now.
And do multiple reads on this, even if it's years apart, because I find I get something different from it every time.
As a good book should.
Yes. I mean, like I said, I first read this in high school, and like I was reading it.
What was your first takeaway from it? Just, ooh, vampires, or?
I think a lot of it was, ooh, vampires, look at the power, but I kind of, since it was high school, it kind of resonated with me, Lestat, just like, yeah.
Rebellious.
Well, yeah, just the biggest thing is why? Why do we have these rules? Why? There is no meaning. We're all on the devil's road.
I could never picture you like that, Philip.
Oh, man. I'll see if I can. I don't think I have any pictures of me in my black trench coat, but...
No. That's hilarious. I don't know. It's just such a good book. It's not even long like I thought. Like, I remember this being way longer the first time that I read it, but it's only like, what, 563 pages or something like that?
550, I believe.
That's not long for me, especially as a kid who grew up reading Harry Potter.
If it's a good book, no, I don't care how long it is, as long as it's good. And for those of you with a shorter attention span, I don't know where you would find this. I don't know if it's even in print anymore, but they do have a Vampire Lestat graphic novel.
It's called eBay, Philip.
Yeah, I know, but I just didn't know how hard...
A library. If you have a good library, they might have it.
That's true. Because, I mean, it is...
Libraries are still a thing, right?
Yeah, we have one around here. See, look at it.
Who did the artwork for that?
Painted by Derek Gross.
Huh. Now, surely we could get one of those people.
Maybe I'll try it, but don't call me Shirley.
All right, Susie. Where'd you find that, though? Do you remember?
I don't know. It might have even been a gift, too. But like I said, it was in the 90s. It was probably not that long after I read the novel, so... the copyright for this looks like 1990 or 91, so yeah.
That's really odd for that time. I mean, not a lot of people were into the graphic novel adaptation bandwagon right then. It didn't really take off till, like, what, 97? When people were really trying to do those tie-ins?
Maybe. Because I'm trying to see, like, if there's a company or something. But, Oh, Ballantine Books Edition. And then there's a First Innovation Edition.
Wait, First Innovation sounds familiar. They've done stuff. Other, like, kind of fangirl, fanboy stuff.
But yeah, the whole story, I haven't read the graphic novel in a while, but I'm pretty sure the whole story's basically here. It starts in the 80s, and it goes back through his, the whole story, the Mario.
Honestly, the whole story could have been all flashbacks, and I would have been okay. Like, I just love that old-timey world that she set.
Oh, I love it, too. And even the ending. See, if you're on YouTube. I didn't think.
Did you actually ever see it in theaters when it came out? Because, of course, I wasn't old enough to see it when it was in theaters.
What, Interview?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe I did. I saw it not too long after it came out, but I think my first viewing was VHS.
I have VHS. All my Disney movies are on VHS.
You didn't convert those yet?
I mean, I bought the Blu-ray editions, obviously, when they came out. So, but they're there for comfort. Good luck finding a VCR, though. That works.
I think I have one. I don't know if it works, but yeah.
Sleep over at Phil's house.
Come on up.
What else? Like, I'm always so taken aback about how good this book holds up.
Oh, yeah. That's what I said. I mean, I've read it every couple of years for like the last 20 years, and it never feels dated. I mean, you're always flashing. I mean, you're flashing back to.
Even older times.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only stuff that might feel dated is the '80s stuff, but I mean, it's still you're setting the picture, and you're like, hey, it's the '80s.
Right? But hey, he spoiled his family. He did to make up for his absence.
And even everybody in the theater.
I don't know what it is about Lestat, but he is an enduring character. Very intriguing, and he's still cruel and kind of a bastard, but you're rooting for him,
well,
and that's something special.
Even towards the end of this book, he kind of even says, every, a lot of this stuff in Interview with a Vampire, where Louis thought I was, a big a-hole. This is why I did this, and the people he saw me kill, they weren't the nicest people, even though he didn't know that.
Sure, Lestat. Sure.
Hey, I mean,
plausible deniability. That's the beauty of it.
I mean, he claimed for the most part he tried to take mostly evildoers.
Do you think of Lestat as an anti-hero, or?
Kinda, yeah.
I don't really think he falls into the actual classification, like the traditional classification. But it's always being reworked, so why not?
I mean, I think he tries to do good for the most part, but it's in selfish ways he tries to do good.
Yeah, he's a what I don't know, what would he be? Chaotic neutral or something like that? Because he's rebelling against humanity and his vampire brethren, so it's just kind of like he does what he wants when it feels good for him, kind of thing.
And I mean, he's been transformed. When you get turned into a vampire and you live how long?
And his mind reading, I swear, I was just like, Edward from freaking Twilight. If this isn't like a thinly veiled illusion, I don't even I was so mad when I was reading Twilight. I was just like, are you serious? This Edward is Lestat, but nicer.
See, I didn't even pick up, the similarities. I just remember seeing it, and I was just like, oh, this is no Anne Rice.
I totally feel that way. Stephanie Myers did. I honestly, if I was Anne Rice, I would feel a certain way.
Well, I think that plays to a certain audience,
Bella definitely was she's very much like Felicity, somebody that people can use as a self-insert, where you don't really have that. You don't have a character like that in this whole world at all that you can really it's blank and malleable, and that's what I really enjoy. I think about her whole universe for Vampire Chronicles.
Even some of the tortured characters in this world smile on occasion.
This is a well that I go to a lot, and I'm just thankful that she is around. You think she'll ever come back to this well again, or? I think she's pretty much done, but I'd love for her to. I feel like it's an open-ended thing, and she could come back if she wanted to.
Didn't she do? I mean, I started listening to some of it audio, but I don't think I finished it. I should go back and just either listen to the whole thing. Wasn't there a Prince Lestat book or something? Or I thought in the last couple years.
Oh.
Not good.
I don't know. I haven't really, like I said, ever since Mim Knocked the Devil, I was just kind of I've been kind of not. We'll have to look into that.
I think it was kind of like
one of those ebooks on
Kindle only. No, I think it's I'm trying to remember. Like I said, I think I listened to the first couple of chapters, but no, it's like Lestat and some of the older vampires, but I think they're bringing in a couple newer ones. I don't know if it's like a whole Star Wars thing where the old guards bringing in the new guard,
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Anne Rice, just give me Lestat every book. I don't care. You could write 50 books, just as long as it's Lestat.
Even if he has to reincarnate into somebody else's body, I don't care. Whatever you have to do.
How interesting would that be if he outlives everybody, and just every couple books it's somebody new, with him.
Yeah, definitely something like that. I just miss this world, and I feel like it's not complete yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's just me as a fan person, or me just reading in between the lines. I'm gonna have to reread the whole thing now, which is a shame because I'm in the middle of my freaking 104 books that can't be reread books.
Oh, that you put that rule on you.
Yeah, it's only fair. I reread books a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything seems like poop, much like TV. All the new stuff seems like poop.
I can't tell you how many times I reread comic books.
Especially from the 90s. Especially if the character's name is Ben Reilly. Shots fired.
Nah, that's not true. I'm in the middle of a Superior Spider-Man read because Charlie Esser and I are going to do that for one of our YouTube exclusives. Well,
Shameless plug.
Learn from the best.
Through and through, A+, hands down, every single time.
Oh yeah, thumbs up. Our highest recommendation. I mean, you agree, right? This is the best book of the Vampire Chronicles.
It totally is, and that's really odd for it to be a second book. A lot of the time, it's going to be a person's first book. And Interview is okay, but like I said, it focused on the wrong character, and I think she knew that.
Well, yeah. Do you think she wrote it and then she's like, I really don't want to follow Louis. Let's get into Lestat.
Honestly, that's how it felt.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she saw the. Oh, actually, I don't know if it's true anymore. But I read an interview a long time ago where she said she actually hated the movie and hated the idea of Tom Cruise being Lestat.
I think I heard something like that. Yeah.
I don't know how true it is. You know how entertainment articles from the 80s and 90s are.
I mean, I could see that, though. I could see that her not wanting, like, a, like a recognizable A-list star. I could see her wanting, like a...
And then on top of that, you got Brad Pitt. And then you have little poor Mary Jane, future Mary Jane. Kirsten Dunst, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. I think. There's a couple of blonde girls that all look like they're all the same age.
That's the other thing that like takes you out of it. It's just like, oh my god, little Chris.
They got a baby. Oh my god, two guys and a baby. Just that movie. So we should totally like live commentary that movie and tear it to pieces.
I'm up for that.
And then we should do Queen of the Damned and say how it should have ended, how it should have been written.
There you go. I mean, we do so many specials, but we should, like, every so often do our own version of, like, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and that could be, like, 2 of the movies.
Definitely. I want to know who owns the rights currently, and are they going to reboot this universe? I think, if anything, if they're rebooting the monster universe with Frankenstein and the Mummy, how the hell is this not being rebooted?
You don't think she has all the rights back? 'Cause, I mean, Queen of the Damned was, what, like, at least 10 years ago, wasn't it?
You think she... I don't know how bad... Like, I know there was a point in time in her life where she was stretched for cash for whatever reason, and I feel like that's why she sold the movie rights. I feel like that's what I heard, but I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, but you would think if someone had the rights, don't you think, I mean, in our age of rebooting everything, don't you think someone...
That's what I was thinking. I want to say it was Warner Brothers, but I know it wasn't Warner Brothers. Oh, yep, it's Warner Brothers. I was right. I didn't think it was, but it is.
I was opening an article. I don't know how old it is. Oh, wait. November 27th, 2016. Anne Rice regains Vampire Chronicles rights and is developing a TV series. That's right. I did hear something about that.
TV said no.
I know, but I mean, I haven't heard anything.
No.
Do you think it's happening, or did that
okay,
through, maybe? Anne
Rice, come on our podcast, and we will start a freaking GoFundMe for freaking the Vampire Chronicles. Don't make it a TV show. Make it movies. Yes, like, we need to make this happen. She has the rights back. How's this not bigger news, people? Because I fear if it ends up on TV, it'll be on the CW and it gets turned into the Vampire Diaries all over again, which was a series of books that I loved. And the TV show is worse than Arrow when it comes to origin stories, okay?
So, yes, that's right. We got our bounty out. Get us Anne Rice for the podcast so we can talk to her. You'll get a autographed Charlie Esser cheesecake picture. That's right.
Chocolate cinnamon baby cake picture. Get it right.
You'll get a signed picture of the star of what is it, Escape from Gulag 69 or something.
On that note, I definitely think it's time to wrap it up.
All right, but before we go, next month, so we'll be doing these like once a month. In the month of February, if you want to read along, we're reading Who is the Black Panther.
Why are we reading Black Panther in February, Philip?
The movie comes out.
Racist. I'm kidding.
That's not true.
The movie comes out in February. I've been saying that the whole time.
I hate all people equally. I don't know what you're talking about.
Same here.
But yeah, no, hey, the movie comes out. It is Black History Month.
I know. I'm just giving you grief. I'm just joshing you.
Don't make me teach you about black people, Lil.
I'd love to see you try.
And if you want to read along, this one is an important one. Send in your questions now, because we will have the author with us to discuss the book, Jesse J. Holland.
Thank you, Philip, for reaching out to him.
So yes, if you want to send in your if you just want to send in your feedback, but especially if you have questions for the author, capesandlunatics@gmail.com or the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES.
Don't let us down, or you're going to get nothing but random nonsense for 2 months straight on Wade's World.
Send us feedback on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Twitter @CapesLunatics, Instagram. Weird people follow us on Instagram. But on a totally unrelated topic, Lilith, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @Lilith Hellfire. Live tweeting The Gifted while it lasts. It's almost coming to an end. And also when Black Lightning starts, I'm going to give it the first 3 episodes.
You can get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com, on Twitter.
White Lightning PDP, what was that?
nightwingpdp@gmail.com, on Twitter @nightwingpdp. Especially if you're an author, if you want to get some free publicity for your book, get a hold of me. We'll read it, review it. You can come on and talk to us. And I think, we have a book club planned out through April, but maybe in the spring or the summer, should we do another Vampire Chronicles book sometime this year?
Definitely this year. Let's see where it all falls. Because The Flash comes out in April. That new Flash book comes out in April.
Oh, does it?
During the, I think it's the break right before they come back in May. It comes out like April 24th.
Okay, so we have
pre-order on Amazon, even though we don't have an affiliate link for it for you to click.
Yeah, maybe sometime this year we'll do another Vampire Chronicles. If you have a suggestion, email us or call us 614-382-2737. And which book do you want to do? The next one, Queen of the Damned, Tale of the Body Thief.
Go back and read Terrible Louis whining, maybe.
Don't subject Lilith to that.
All right.
All right, everyone.
Phil, you get to hit the music.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of the Capes and Lunatics Book Club. Like I said, send us feedback. We love interacting with you. capesandlunatics@gmail.com or 614-382-2737. And remember, read in feedback on who is the Black Panther. You can talk to the author. Send us voicemail. You can speak right to him. Kind of. Don't shake your head. You created this monster, Lilith.
I blame it on Rob.
You are the Magnus to my Lestat.